Okay, let's continue. We're at part 3 of our Revit family creation, and we're making a table. We've just finished adding some parameters, and those were height, length, and width to this table here. And so what we did was we went into the properties. Let me cancel this just to remind you where we were. We went into the 3D view first of all, then we went into the properties, family types, and we clicked on that. And now we see the 3 parameters that we created of the height, length, and width. Now we want to test this out, and there were some things I purposely left undone so that you can see what happens when you don't quite get all of the aligned locked planes together, the model with aligned and locked with the planes. So what we're first going to do is we're going to change the height of this and see what happens. So in the 3D view, you can pull up the family types and sort of play around with this. If you click inside the value, I'm going to type in 42 inches and apply. Now what we see happening is not what I wanted to happen. I wanted this top to stay 2 inches, and I wanted the whole thing to move together. So now we know that we have to change and lock this bottom of the tabletop to the reference plane so that it moves along with the top. So we'll go back and fix that in just a second. So I'm going to actually cancel or change this back. Let's put it back to 2 foot 8. Apply. And then let's try the length and see if this changes correctly. So I'm just going to type in something kind of long, 8 feet, and apply. And so that's working correctly. That's great. But let's try the width and see what happens there. Let's put the length back to 4 feet. And let's change the width to, let's say, 6 feet and see what happens. Okay, so the width and the height, we need to go back and adjust some things. I'm just going to, you can see that the table went ahead and extended, but the leg did not. So this side of the table, the side of the leg, needs to be attached to that reference plane that moves the table at the same time. And then we also have to fix the reference plane for the bottom. So let's go ahead and hit cancel here. I'll put that back to 3 feet just to be on the safe side. Cancel. And let's go back and try to figure out which reference plane that we need to fix here. So I'm going to go to my, let's try the front view here. So it's one of these sides that's not connected. So we're going to go ahead and hit align, select the reference plane, and then we want to grab this side of the table and lock it. And let's just do the other side to be on the safe side and lock that. So now the sides of the table should move with the tabletop, no problem. And then let's go to the right side elevation. And this time we're going to click on Align, and we want to grab this bottom reference plane, and we want to grab the bottom of the tabletop and lock it. Let's go to our 3D view. Now let's try that out again. We're going to go to the family types. Let's try 42 inches. So that did not help. Let's see what happened with our width. That worked. Okay, so we still need to figure out how to make this height follow along with the top. Okay, so I went back to my right elevation, and what I'm noticing is that I have this extra dimension here, and I know this sounds odd, but I'm going to go ahead and delete that dimension, and I'm going to leave this 2-inch dimension here because that is actually helping to keep that in place, and remove this other dimension because that was holding that reference plane down to the 2 foot 6 inches. So I've removed that. I'm going to go back to my view and click on my family types. change my height to 42 inches, apply, and voila. Now it is working exactly how we want in all the different dimension directions that we have set up for our parameters. We can successfully hit OK, and now we can test it out in one of our models if we like, or we can go ahead and make the material selection for the generic model here. Let me put this height back down to 32 inches. I want these to be my default numbers so that when we insert it, this is what it comes in at, and then we can adjust it after we get it into the model. So let's go ahead and save our model at this point. And then we'll talk about adding materials to the model. So in order to add materials to our model, we do have several parts to our family here. And so we're going to select the extrusion that is our tabletop, first of all. And we could actually, because of the way we created this, we could have different legs and a different material for our legs than we have for our top. Right now I'm just going to make them all the same material, but you could set it up so that your legs were wood and your top was marble or something like that. But right now we're going to set the whole thing to just a white plastic laminate and show you how to do that. So once you've selected the extrusion itself, you'll see over here in the properties area that you have materials showing. Okay, I just wanted to adjust this a little bit. So you do have materials showing, and it's over here under materials and finishes, and notice that it does say by category. So what we're going to do is just click inside that by category area, and we're going to add a material category to this. So we're going to click right here, and that'll bring us to our material browser. So we're in a default situation here, so what we want to do is create a new material. So we're going to go ahead and click on the little create new material. We're on default right now, so that's fine. Create new default material, and then we can right click and rename this, and let's call this tabletop material. You can also, since we're making it plastic laminate, you could call it plastic laminate or something like that. But we're just going to call it tabletop material for now and hit apply. So now this is our new material that we're starting to, we're going to create it and assign it to the tabletop. Now since I want white, I'm going to go ahead and change my graphics and change that to be a white and click OK. So now my graphics appearance in shaded graphics is going to be white. I'm going to leave the surface pattern and cut pattern as none, and then I'm going to go to appearance, and here I do want to replace this asset, but right now we don't have any kind of an asset showing. I could also duplicate this asset, but since there really is no asset assigned to it, I can go ahead and replace this asset. So I'm going to click replace this asset. And now we've got the asset browser available. And here I'm going to type in plastic laminate, or actually just plastic. And I'm going to click down here under Appearance Library for plastic. And the one that I wanted to use was this high gloss plastic. But the high gloss plastic is in a burnt red. So we are going to have to change that. So I'm going to replace the current asset with this one. And that gives me this plastic that's a color red. And now I'm going to duplicate this asset, and we're going to change this to red. I'm sorry, we're going to change this to white as well. Okay, so now I have this solid plastic that's got basically a high gloss to it. It looks like high gloss plastic laminate, and we're going to apply that Make sure that our graphics are set to use rendered appearance. Either way it would work, but we want to use rendered appearance for this, and click OK. And now you can see that for my tabletop, my material is tabletop material, which we know is a white plastic laminate. So if I were to click out of this and you see that I am in a shaded view, it's showing it as white now. And I could also go to realistic view. It's going to keep showing it as that white color. So next I can go ahead and change the legs. And again, I made them independently of the tabletop so I can have a different material for them. So I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to select those legs, go to material by category. Now this time I already have a tabletop material that's set up exactly in the material that I want, so I can actually duplicate, right click and duplicate this material, and I'm going to call it leg material. And I'm going to apply, and now, oops, I need to respell that. Rename, leg material. Okay. Now my leg material is the same material as my tabletop, but I have the option of changing that and creating something different if I would like. And I do have it under, I forgot to change the name of my high gloss burnt red, but I do have it under this white material here. Okay, so now we have our material applied to our table. We have our parameters working correctly. We can go ahead and save this. I just wanted to show you how to fix the name of that material because I had forgotten to do that. So you can go into your Manage and then your Materials browser, select that tabletop material, and when you're in Appearance, you're going to go to Information, click on Information, and then you go ahead and change that to high gloss white and hit OK, and that'll change it for both the leg. That material will be named correctly. So now I'm going to actually show you this in a model and how it's working real quickly. So let me open up one of my existing models and I'll show you how that goes into the model. Again, we want to make sure we save any changes that we've made and that we save it to a name that we can find. I recommend that you place this into your own custom parameter or a custom family library with your own name on it so that you have access to it. Most likely it would be easiest to keep it in your cloud. Okay, so I've opened up my project that we're working on, our residential project, and I also have my modern table open in the background. I did save it, but since I've been working on it and I still have it open, I can actually load it into my project. So I can choose load into project and close or just load into project. So I'm just going to choose the load into project. And it gives me the option which project do you want to load it into. I'm going to load it into my INT 120 res floor project that I'm working on. So I'm going to click OK. So now it has actually loaded my modern table, and you can see it here in the properties area. I don't have any special types created yet, and that would be reserved for our in-class demo. Once we get this all done, I may be able to make a fourth part to the video. But right now we just have the one single table that we created, but we can actually change the parameters on it. So I'm going to go to Architecture, Component, and I do have my modern table highlighted, so here it is. It's coming in to the project, and I can hit my space key and change the direction of it. And actually, I'm going to place it right here in the kitchen area. Kind of works as an island, so I'm going to kind of maybe use it somewhat as an island. So there it is, and we're going to go to our 3D view. I'm going to place a camera here. I know we don't have anything else in this floor plan yet, but so there's my wonderful table. And we can kind of look at that as shaded or realistic.